We're back, everybody. Thursday night. Rhori Johnston with you on Open Line here on News Channel 5. Plus, our guest tonight, Kelly Goldsmith, an expert on consumer behavior in the face of scarcity. And what a time to be an expert in that topic during the pandemic. And she joins us live tonight here in Nashville. Kelly, how early on, when this coronavirus word started coming out of China and then Europe, how early on did this kind of, perk your ears up and you started to kind of really track this?
I can tell you exactly when it happened. So I was at a book club meeting, and one of the women in my book club works in fashion, and specifically she works on developing the brands that are sold at Macy's. And she was saying, there's this issue in China with the supply chain because of coronavirus and COVID. And it's not that all their garments in Macy's come from China, but for any given garment, like a zipper or a button or something could come from China. And she was saying, Macy's, none of the Macy's brands are going to have a fall 2020. Like, they can't make clothes because the supply chain is shutting down. And as somebody who's been teaching in a business school for 10 years, I was like, oh, this is not good, right? Like, if the supply, and China makes so much, I'm thinking, if the supply chain is shutting down, like, there are serious problems. And that really, I couldn't stop talking about it once I heard that. I'm asking every single person I know, people in the local government, people at Vanderbilt. And then, from then on, I didn't have to ask anymore because it was all over the news. Yeah,
the dominoes seemed to fall pretty quickly, didn't they?
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go to our phones. We appreciate you callers out there calling in on a Thursday night. And up first is Daryl. Hi, Daryl. Welcome.
Good evening, Rhori, and to Kelly as well. My first question, I guess, is I'm gonna need the name of that store and the address where you got those paper towels.
All right, I'm just gonna fess up.
I'm just joking.
No, I'll tell you, it was the Target on White Bridge Road. There, I said it.
I knew that was gonna be it. I knew that was gonna be it.
Yeah, I said it. They had stuff in stock, so they're not gonna have stuff in stock now. But I got mine, so no. Go ahead, Daryl.
All right. Well, thanks for the information. But basically, I'm really torn between, first of all, how Kentucky has far exceeded the state of Tennessee, how the governor of Kentucky has been more proactive as far as shutting down the state and other things. But what gets me is that we're on the precipice of being a country that's about to turn on each other. And it starts before this even started. We've seen the Black Fridays where people lining up outside of Walmart, ready to go in there like they're going into battle, willing to knock over people, stepping over kids, old people. So we're about a country that's already obsessed with consumerism. My thing is, as far as Kroger, Amazon, who are putting out these commercials, how much they appreciate their employees, show what you really mean by that. Make everybody $20 an hour at a minimum. At all these, Kroger's the largest grocery retailer in the country. Amazon is almost the largest retailer, period, next to Walmart. Show what you mean, Walmart. Show what you mean, Kroger, Amazon. Give these people the raise they need. And temperature check these people when they're going into your warehouse. That's a very simple thing to do at your exit and entryway.
And Daryl, we just did a story tonight on the newscast about Jeff Bezos at Amazon kind of responding to criticism, talking about how he's trying to take care of the workforce. Let's put you on hold for a second and we'll listen to Kelly's response. It's a very good question, Kelly.
Yeah, I think it's a really excellent point. And you'd hope that you'd see leadership at all levels, not just leadership from the government, but leadership from these businesses. The people that work there, you look up during times of uncertainty. You look to your supervisors and your bosses to tell you, what's the plan? How are we moving forward? And certainly for those people who have put in a lifetime or even a short amount of time worth of work and dedication and loyalty to an organization, this is the time when the companies can show what they're made of by taking care of the good people that took care of them. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Daryl, good point. Let's go to Angel on line. Nope, we lost that one. Let's go to Rocky on line 3. Hey, Rocky. Ricky, sorry. Ricky, go ahead.
Yes, I'm glad you took my call.
Sure.
I know for me, it might sound strange, but I found out a while ago I got a message from a friend that told me to get toilet paper, water, things of that nature, even before the tornado hit, and it was amazing. Right after that, we got hit with the tornado.
Right.
And so it really didn't surprise me, but what did surprise me, I be hearing a lot about how good the citizens stood up, but when I went through Kroger and different places like that, I would have thought that people would be so selfish to try to take all the toilet paper, try to take all the hand sanitizer, to at least would consider your neighbor to say, okay, let me consider my neighbor. I know we got this, this thing that happened, but don't let me get as many, But I'm so glad they finally came around and they let people get a certain amount to think about.
Limited quantities.
That's a good thing out of it.
All right.
Overall, the thing that really get me most of all is I can be prepared for me what's happening. It's be the information that I be getting from the government when it's not active. I filed for unemployment, and they say, oh, you get an unemployment payment, and then I'm still waiting, but they always just say it's coming. So I think when information that we're getting, it's like it's confusing information, not accurate. One person saying this, another person saying this.
Oh, yeah.
That's what throws me off balance.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Good point.
I just don't know how to get through it.
Thank you, Ricky. Go ahead, Kelly.
Well, I mean, I think we're dealing with two different things here. One is scarcity, not enough stuff on the shelves, people hoarding products. I'm with you. Early on, I was interviewed about this, and I was strongly pushing for rationing because based on the research that I've been doing for a decade, I could have told you this hoarding behavior would happen. I don't think it's because humans are bad. I think it's just because fundamentally it's in our DNA that we want to take care of ourselves. And when we're under a real threat, and here a threat to our health, like that deals with scarcity, people are just they can't help themselves. They're just filling up their carts. I wish it wasn't true, right? But I think a lot of research would have predicted that this is what we would have seen in the stores. But then not only are we dealing with scarcity, that's a consequence of all of us being relatively individualistic and trying to protect ourselves, we're also dealing with uncertainty, a lot of uncertainty. Now, some uncertainty, right? The government, no matter who you are, you have no control over. I'm not an infectious disease specialist. I couldn't tell you anything about this virus, right? But you would hope that the people who do have some information, the people who could keep you informed, for example, about the status of your unemployment and the payments, you'd hope that that information would be coming through and they'd be able to be transparent. And that's unfortunate, right? To the extent that the government or supervisors, people in leadership positions can reduce the uncertainty, because we have enough uncertainty right now with this virus, right? So if you find yourself in a leadership position or any position in life with your kids, what can you do to be transparent about the information you do have and to reduce the uncertainty around you? I mean, that's a value we can all provide.
Do you think, just talking about personal human behavior, as you talked about, the need initially to take care of myself first, so I'm going to grab my water and my toilet paper, and then would you find that maybe days later some people realize, oh, maybe there's a little guilt, and they would ask their neighbors, hey, I've got extra this or that if anyone needs any?
I think maybe. And there's going to be all kinds of individual differences that affect people's tendency to feel guilty about their hoarding behavior. So some people are just chronically more other-oriented. And so those people might take a look at their toilet paper supply and be like, you know what, now that I'm thinking about this, I can pass some of this around. Other people, maybe the people in the middle of the bell curve with respect to being kind of selfish versus generous, the people that are smack in the middle, it may depend on when some of this uncertainty starts to resolve. So we still don't know when this crisis is going to end. We still don't know when the stores are going to feel normal and be regularly stocked, And so I think for the people kind of in the middle of the bell curve who are neither selfish nor generous, like the average Joe on that dimension, it might take a little bit more certainty about the future before we feel comfortable really opening up our pantries.
Yeah, good point. All right, let's go to Taylor on line 4. Hi, Taylor. Welcome to Open Line.
Roy, Kelly, good evening. This is a pertinent subject at a pertinent time. And yesterday morning, I was listening to one of the business channels, and there was a gentleman on that was the chairman of the board of one of the world's largest conglomerates. And so the host of the show was mentioning business and a lot of the products that we're talking about here. And this man says, well, he says, and they carry a lot of everything. And I've handled seeing your moment, and I can't remember the name of his his company, but it's one of those monsters that you don't know or seldom hear the main name, but anyway, they've got lots of products. And he says, but what this rush on these products is not making us a fortune because it's costing us many of our other products that we have more money in. But the main thing he said, and this might be something Kelly would want to think about for her future classes, he says this phenomenon is an American phenomenon. He says we're a worldwide company, and these kind of rushes don't happen in other countries. And I think the host was kind of shocked by that statement. And so he asked him, well, why is that? And the man gave some good answers. He said, most of the homes in other countries are not as large as ours to store stuff. He says most countries don't have people and credit cards and so forth with the wealth to buy ahead like we have. And then there was a couple of other things that he said that made so much sense.
We are, as Kelly mentioned, there's no doubt, Taylor, we are a consumer-oriented society here in the USA. There's no doubt about that. We like our stuff, right?
We do.
Yeah, but the money and space and so forth, he said, was the main reason. And we're the only country that their products have gone through this during this time and other times like it. So that's my point. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Go ahead, Kelly. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that's a really excellent point. I mean, I think there's a lot of reasons, and some of them are actually quite positive about the U.S., right? Like the fact that we have more discretionary income to spend on these kinds of things, and the fact that we're really proactive about protecting ourselves. I see those as positive attributes of Americans. And it is true, like that, especially in bathrooms, which is relevant to toilet paper storage. We have bigger bathrooms than most countries in the entire world. That's actually true. I teach a case on toilet paper in the business school. And even long before COVID, it was true that in lots of European countries, people just can't store toilet paper because they have nowhere to put it, whereas that is not as much the case here. So those are some really interesting insights. I think another insight that's relevant is we're a very individualistic country here in the United States and here in the West in general, less so than Eastern countries, which are more interdependent. And so if you have a country that prides itself on, its individuals being independent, we're all the more likely to protect ourselves and take care of ourselves. I think that's a positive part of the American ethos. But again, what are we doing when we're protecting ourselves and taking care of ourselves in this context? We're buying all the toilet paper. So it leads to this kind of, unfortunate communal consequence that we're all so good at being independent.
All right, another break, and we're back with Kelly Goldsmith as our guest on Open Line. Stay with us, everybody. We'll be right back.